Welcome to another video from Roland Mösel, founder of planetary engineering group Earth. Why is Germany failing at the energy transition? In the first decade of the new millennium, Germany was a big example. Oh, how much wind energy, how much photovoltaic builds Germany, and now it's failing. Why? Let's look at the three phases of the photovoltaic expansion. In the first phase, we say simple. When the sun shines, we switch off caloric power plants. But this is only possible as long as there are caloric power plants. You cannot switch off more caloric power plants than are switched on. And so the first limit for Germany is about 70 gigawatt of photovoltaic. And a typical example would be, we have here 40 kilowatt of photovoltaic, and this is connected to the grid with a 230 volt, 50 ampere, 3-phase current connection. In the next phase, we have batteries for day-night balancing. So we have again our 40 kilowatt photovoltaic, and now we need only half of the connection, only 25 amperes instead of 50 amperes, because we have here 100 kilowatt hours of batteries for day-night balancing. So we don't put all the solar energy direct to the grid, we store half of it maybe in the batteries, and so half of the grid connection is useful. And this goes from 70 to 300 gigawatt of photovoltaic. This is the limit. Maybe there are some very sunny summer days, and all the day is sun, and in the night we have the batteries. And when we have more photovoltaic, what to do with more solar energy? There we come in the third phase for summer-winter balancing. Day-night balancing and summer-winter balancing have completely different parameters. This is because day-night balancing we have 365 days a year, and summer-winter balancing we have only one time per year. So complete different technologies are for the day-night balancing, and for the summer-winter balancing the best choice in price and cost. Here we see we have now 120 kilowatt hours of batteries. Why? Because normally in the nighttime the electric consumption is lower than at daytime, but here we have now massive amounts of power to gas units, and this should be serviced 24 hours a day, and so we need now a little bit more batteries, 120 kilowatt hours. And we have here power to methane, 6 kilowatt, and then we have this underground methane storage. Germany has already 25 cubic kilometers of this. In this case, we need about the double of it. And we have this combined cycle gas turbine power plants, 2 kilowatt for each 40 kilowatt of photovoltaic. On the left side, we have decentral in all the houses, and on the right side, we have big central technic. Let's look now at the energy feed-in law in Germany, the EEG. They have here big tables each month and other tariffs for new systems. Yes, you make a new system and you get a contract. Now you get 20 years, always the same price, and then it's finished. And we have here differences. On houses up to 10 kilowatt, up to 40 kilowatt, up to 100 kilowatt, and on non-inhabited things, and on free land, and also up to 100 kilowatt. Yes, you have complete irrelevant tariffs. They make difference for nothing. And let's look now. I am just preparing to create a stock corporation to sell and produce such houses. And you see on the picture there are 3 times 12 is 36 solar panels. And on the other side there are also 36 panels. And on this photo there is not the garage also, and in the garage are another 24 panels. And now we make a big puzzle quiz for bureaucrats in Germany. We have now 72 modules with 425 watts on the house. We have another 24 modules with 425 watts on the garage. And what is it now? Is it one plant with, oh, terrible, we are a little bit above 40 kilowatts, so we have only the tariffs for 40 to 100 kilowatt, and this would be 4.96 cents per kilowatt hour. Or are these 2 plants, one on the house with 6.34 cents per kilowatt hour, and one on the garage with 4.46 cents? Or does it count everything as the lowest? Maybe one plant with 4.46 cents per kilowatt hour. And to make it more complicated, 2 years later, we make a solar garden fence. There are these bifacial modules which use light from both sides, and we can put it vertical, and now we have a garden fence. And now we have also 20 modules with 425 watts as a garden fence to the south. And because it's 2 years later, they have another tariff. And 2 years later, we make now also on the east side a garden fence with 24 modules. And this is also 2 years later, also another tariff in the German feed-in law. And now a big question. How many electrical meters do we need now? How many? For feed-in, for own usage, for getting electricity from the grid? Oh, this is a very, very complicated question in Germany. But now let's look how it is on the free market. On the free market, there are day-ahead auctions for electricity. Until 2 p.m., all offers and all demands are listed, and they make the fixing for the next day. For every hour of the next day, they have an own price. How this price is made up? They sort all offers for electricity. The width of the rectangle is how much electricity is offered. The height of the rectangle is the price. And we sort it now, and then we have a demand. And now let's look at what price the demand is met, and then this is the price for this hour. And when the demand is higher, the balance between offer and demand is at a higher price. Now let's imagine we would have the house I want to make in big series. We would have this house in Austria on the 3rd March of 2022. A house with 40 kilowatt of photovoltaic and 100 kilowatt hours of batteries. What to do? Oh, we feed in the most expensive 6 hours of the day. We cannot do it in 1 hour because we have not the electricity grid connection to do it. We can do it in 6 hours and 2 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening with the highest prices, all around 40 cents per kilowatt hour, and we make 40 euro electricity sale on this day, and we have also a little bit electricity, maybe about 20 kilowatt hours for own usage. It's a great sunny day for March. And now let's look for the same situation in Germany. There is it not possible for the private person to be part of this auction market. In Austria, there are several companies who make it possible, and all these companies are not on the German market because there are big obstacles to do it. So much bureaucracy, so much policies, it's too complicated. They would like to expand on a market about 10 times bigger than the Austrian market, but they cannot do it. And what to do in Germany with such a house? Oh, why should somebody have in Germany such a house? He would get €6 electricity sales, and for the 20 kilowatt hours for own usage, he would have to pay about €0.5. The yellow line shows the offer in Germany. It's a joke. It's the opposite of fair trade. It's unfair trade. Then there is in Germany the EEG levy account. This means there is in every hour of the year the spot market price, and there is the EEG tariff individual for each EEG system. And a typical example before 2021 would be the spot market tells 4 cents per kilowatt hour, and there is a system who is able to receive 10 cents per kilowatt hour as a tariff, and the difference, 6 cents, this is booked on the levy account. And each year they look on this account and tell for next year the EEG-Umlage, this is the term for it, increases the electricity price by so much cents. In 2021 it was 6.5 cents additional to the electricity cost of small citizen, of small business. Oh, big business does not pay it. Big business has an exemption for this. But the market changed very much in 2022. Now a typical situation would be there are 30 cents on the spot market. The system with the EEG tariff, for example, receives 10 cents, and this means 20 cents negative on the EEG levy account. And now political promise, oh, we finish this EEG-Umlage. Oh, very nice. All the years we had to pay for this EEG-Umlage, and now it's going to be negative that we reduce with this electricity price, and suddenly it disappears. Here we have from the 3rd March 2022 one line, the blue line, this is the electricity price, and then there is a violet line, this is the import-export of electricity, and you see these lines are counter. Germany exports electricity when it is cheap, imports electricity when it is expensive. This is because these renewable energy experts forgot one thing, the battery. 1 year ago, only in German language, I made a video about a study of the famous Fraunhofer Institute about the energy transition, and they made scenarios up to the year 2050. And one typical thing of these scenarios had been the same as on the page before. Germany sells electricity when it's cheap. Germany buys electricity when it's expensive. And why? This is also a video I made March 2021 about it. Criticism grotesquely few batteries. They even want in the year 2050 far too few batteries to have a normal energy market. Terrible. In a famous German magazine about science in Germany called Bild der Wissenschaft, Picture of Science, on 1st August 1997. When we would do it, they didn't do it, but when they would have done it, 4 years later, this is 2001, they expected lithium manganese batteries for a price of about 155 euro per kilowatt hour. So they all had known there will be batteries, there will be very good and long-lasting batteries, and they will be cheap, but they didn't put it in the planning for the renewable energy transition. They forget about the batteries. Now, some days ago, March 3, 2022, planning until 2026, Federal Finance Minister Lindner wants to allocate 200 billion euros for climate change. Yes, for electric car charging stations, they are necessary. Hydrogen generation, forget it until you have 300 gigawatt photovoltaic. Before, it's better to invest renewable energy in other things than to make hydrogen out of it. And why 200 billion? There could be a much cheaper way to have a much better renewable energy transition. Let's look on the motivations for the energy transition. On the left side, German energy feed-in law. Yes, let's make 10 kilowatt of photovoltaic and we go to the maximum, 10 kilowatt hours of batteries, because it's all only designed for their own usage. As few as possible, because you don't want to make a present to these people who take your energy for 6 cents and sell it for 30 cents. No, this is unfair trade, and you want not part of such unfair trade. So you make the minimum possible to have a good effect on your electricity bill, to make most of the energy yourself. And so the market for batteries is very small in Germany. And because the battery market is small, the prices are outrageous high. And this will not change in this situation. When there is no market to sell electricity for a good price, the people will store energy only for own usage. And now let's look what's possible at participating from private persons at the free market. 40 kilowatt photovoltaic, 100 kilowatt hours of batteries to be full in the renewable electricity market, to sell electricity at the best time possible. Therefore we need a little bit batteries. And because there are so much demand for batteries, the price will shrink below 200 euro per kilowatt hour. It's not possible to go so low on the locked market where private persons cannot be part of the free market. Now let's think some years in the future. There are now 5 million houses in Germany with 40 kilowatt peak photovoltaics and 100 kilowatt hours of battery. What effect does this have? There is an old spell, offer and demand determines the price. And now 5 million houses with very much photovoltaic offers electricity on the free market. And the price will go down. Sure, the price will go down. It's good for everybody. It's not good to have so high energy prices and the economy goes down because of these high economy prices. And I think the prices will go down as far as in the good old days where electricity was good affordable. And I say to all these German politicians who are responsible for the renewable energy law, forget your hate about free market. Allow private persons to participate on the free electricity spot market. Only so it is possible to have a really working renewable energy transition. You cannot have both. You have to decide between your hate on free market economy and a real working energy transition. Make a wise decision for this. This was another video of Roland Mösel, founder of Planetary Engineering Group Earth, and as always, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when I make my next video.